Music producers, how often are you tracking your beat sales? Are you looking at your dashboard analytics? It's kind of important. Let's talk about why.
Airbit.com.
Music producers, when I first began selling my beats, I was excited to see I had so many sales. I was excited to be touching so many different parts of the US and having so many artists be interested in my beats. I was overwhelmed at times. You know, I was bragging to people like, oh my God, I can't believe I sold a beat to somebody in Germany. And it was such a big deal for me that, you know, and when you're that excited, you're not always thinking about the long term. And I think that part of thinking about the long term, especially when you start operating as a business and not just as somebody out here hustling beats, I think part of that long-term mentality is checking to see what is working for you, what is not working for you, because at the end of the day, your customer is always right. You know, you want to make sure that you're providing what your customers absolutely want. Not every customer is not the same, but you can see certain patterns once you start digging into your analytics, once you start digging into your stats, once you start seeing things like what BPMs sell the most for me. Really easy, general question. And I'm pretty sure that you'll start to see patterns with your highest selling beats, or even like, you know, the beats that have sold the most. You're going to start seeing a pattern in which maybe the average BPM is maybe like 88 beats per minute. And meanwhile, while you're making these 140 BPM trap beats, maybe that's not what your audience exactly wants. Maybe they want sort of that, you know, this mid-tempo that has a lot of space for lyricists to fit many syllables in between kicks and snares. Maybe that's what they want. But it's important for you to be the one that knows that. You can't leave that to anybody else. This is your responsibility because it is your business. So with it being your business, I cannot stress enough why you need to always look at your analytics. Look, when you're with Airbit, you have the grand opportunity to have, you know, some of the most extensive analytics that I've seen personally. Let's remove Curtis King from the Airbit brand and let me just speak to you as a producer. It's some of the most extensive and detailed analytics that I've seen, aside from YouTube, aside from like Bandcamp, some of the most extensive analytics that I have seen, because, you know, not only are they telling you what beats have been played the most, which is a great metric to see, you know, maybe what direction you should start heading in when making new beats, but it tells you what beats have sold the most over the last, you know, 7 days, over the last 6 months, over the last 30 days. These are metrics that we used to, as producers, have to count manually through our PayPal orders and make spreadsheets and inventory analysis sheets in order to make that happen. Now you have that information sitting right there in front of you. So why not take advantage of that? You need to see the patterns that are occurring. Maybe you're starting to sell more R&B than you're selling trap, you know, and people could care less about your need or your want to expand your trap sounds. If this is selling, it's now your responsibility for, you know, you to be successful. It's your responsibility now to continue to push this through and at least provide that to your customers that are paying, you know, for your production. They're investing into you. Why would you not provide something for them if they're providing something for you in exchange? So checking your analytics is something you should do very often. I would say you should be looking at your analytics, if not every day, every other day. You should be seeing patterns that sort of predict where your, you know, where the trend is going to go next. Maybe you've been putting out 12 new beats, right? And you start to see like, oh man, people are really loving my trap beats that are, you know, 100 BPM, which really, you know, if it's double time, it's 50 BPM. Maybe they're really, really gravitating towards that. Maybe during certain types, you know, certain times of the year, rappers or singers are gravitating towards certain vibes. Like think about summertime music, right? So it may be, you know, you may be watching this video at the beginning of the summertime and you start to see, wait a minute, people are gravitating towards my more, you know, beachy vibes, if that's even a word to describe it, my more energetic, my more fun and party vibes and more Cancun type vibes or whatnot. People are gravitating towards that because that is sort of the temperature of the time. You know, even right now, it's December. People are not trying to turn up like that in December. What they're trying to do is feel very warm music. That's why you hear music like, you know, J. Cole's projects are always very successful during this time. Sade, the singer Sade, has released projects around this time because, you know, you make very warm music. I released a project during this time. I always do because it's just it's a season that really calls for warmer music. Drake is another great example of that too. That this time of the year calls for a certain type of aesthetic. Now, I'm not saying you got to go create those aesthetics, but I'm saying there's something that's within your bag of tricks, your beats, that people will gravitate towards more during this time of the year. Well, the way that you know that, you want to know the way that you know that? The way that you know that is to look at your analytics, check your stats, see the patterns. You need to be a hound dog for this information, because in other words, you're really being a dog, a scent dog that's been out there just looking. You're looking for success. You know, you're looking for opportunities to be even more successful than what you already are. So I cannot stress it enough. Check your analytics, check your stats, use your dashboard, check those numbers, and check them often. Once again, this is Curtis King at Airbit.com. Have a good one.
Airbit.com.
Music producers, don't forget to subscribe to the Airbit channel right now.